Hello, this is Sandeep Unnithan and welcome to Defense Deep Dive. For over half a century, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has been the go-to Indian company to build Indian aircraft, from helicopters to combat jets. Now, HAL is a public sector undertaking owned by the Ministry of Defense. It is India's largest defense firm in terms of revenue, orders, and market cap. Now, its monopoly on the aerospace sector is ending. Now, what critical developments have unfolded over the last few days? Let's dive in. On the 3rd of February, Italian helicopter manufacturer Leonardo announced a joint venture with Adani Defense and Aerospace. Now, Defense Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh said that this MOU between Adani Defense and Leonardo would create a rotary wing fleet ecosystem in India. Now, the government of India's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense manufacturing aims to reduce import dependency, he said. We know that. You can't have 100% self-reliance but take steps that minimize dependence, is also what he said. Very interesting comments. This is significant because until now, HAL was India's sole manufacturer of military helicopters. It has licensed-built the Chetak and Cheetah helicopters. It's built the indigenously designed and developed advanced light helicopter Dhruv and its variants, including the light combat helicopter and the light utility helicopter. Now, the government has indicated that it wants more players to boost innovation, speed up production, and cut import costs. Now, it's encouraging tie-ups between Indian private firms and foreign experts. They're creating a competitive ecosystem that challenges HAL's monopoly and drives efficiency. Now, Tata Advanced Systems Limited, or TASL, is establishing a final assembly line for the Airbus H125 helicopters in Vemagal, Karnataka. Max Aerospace and US helicopter maker Bell Helicopters have teamed up to produce the Bell 407 helicopter in India. Now, these will give the Indian Armed Forces options to buy new light helicopters to replace the aging Cheetah and Chetak helicopters. Now comes the project to build 5th generation advanced medium combat aircraft. That's a big one. The AMCA, as it's being called, is designed by the DRDO's Aeronautical Development Agency, or ADA. The government has sanctioned 15,000 crore rupees for building 5 AMCA prototypes, with the first flight between 2028 and 2029 and serial production expected to begin in around 2035. Now, it was widely assumed that HAL would get the contract to build these prototypes, given its track record. The word for this is nominated in conditions where there is no competition. Now, the IAF hopes to acquire about 120 AMCAs in the first batch for about 1.5 lakh crore. That's a lot of money. But reports now suggest that the Defense Ministry has shortlisted 3 private sector firms, one of whom will build the AMCA. These firms include TASL, the Tata company, Larsen & Toubro, and Bharat Forge. HAL is not in that list. Now, both TASL and L&T have built subsystems for the LCA Tejas, like the wing. TASL is assembling the Airbus C295 for the Air Force. But is HAL being starved of orders? Not quite. In fact, it has enough and more work in the near term. It is building 220 light combat aircraft worth 1.19 lakh crore. HAL will also upgrade over 200 Sukhoi 30 MKIs and possibly build the Russian Su-57 in case the government decides to build these 5th generation jets in India. Now, what the government seems to be doing is building second lines for helicopters and combat jets within the country. They're introducing competition. And interestingly, this is exactly the model the late Defense Minister Manohar Parrikar had proposed over a decade ago. Parrikar had called this strategic partnerships, the SP model, for the Indian private sector to forge partnerships with foreign OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, to enable the creation of an indigenous defense ecosystem. Now, this SP model was scuttled after suit boot sarkar jibes from the opposition that the government was favoring the private sector over the defense PSUs. But in recent years, the defense forces have indicated they were unhappy with the pace of work at HAL, and with the building pressure on military modernization, the government has decided to go ahead put the armed forces first. HAL's monopoly has ended. But that's not a bad thing, because the armed forces and the indigenous defense ecosystem of India benefit the most.